Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard. It's probably going to be the last time I will ever say that. So guys, first, I just want to say this is not a clickbait video, unfortunately. I just want to be very direct and say that I am stepping away from YouTube content creation and streaming as a whole. And this is solely so that I can take care of my family. So my wife and I are expecting a baby boy due in early February. A lot of you guys know this already. We're both very excited, nervous to be parents. However, about 6 or 7 weeks ago, we found out that he has a very serious congenital heart defect called transposition of the great arteries, which basically means that his aortic and pulmonic arteries are flipped. So the left artery and the right artery, they're on the wrong side. Not to get too deep here in like the medical aspect of this, but it's basically not compatible with life unless they do a major surgery when he's born. They'll open up his chest, they'll literally go in and cut the arteries, flip them to the right side and sew them back together, basically. So obviously with this news, we're very scared. Even if everything goes perfect, we won't take him home for at least the first month. We probably won't even get to hold him at all first few weeks. And like, obviously that sucks. I feel horrible for my wife who, you know, like that's all she's been so excited just for that moment. Like she probably won't even get that moment. Now the one good thing is that we are in Cincinnati, and Cincinnati Children's is like the top rated children's hospital in the country. And their surgeons regularly do this kind of surgery. They feel very confident that, you know, if all goes to plan, our son can grow up and live basically a normal, healthy life once he gets through this. But because of his heart condition, my wife has lots and lots of extra appointments that she has to go to beyond your normal pregnancy. Because they're constantly trying to like measure his heart, see how it's developing so they can plan for the surgery. And unfortunately, she's already had to burn through basically all of her time off for PTO. And she doesn't get very much maternity time at her work. She's already starting to use her FMLA or medical leave time, which is also going to burn through very quickly. And I think it goes without saying that he's going to require a lot of extra care, and it's not like we can just drop him off at daycare as soon as he comes home from the hospital, so that my wife can go back to work. So with all this in mind, my wife is likely going to end up having to be forced to either take a leave of absence from work or maybe try to do like part-time at least until he's kind of gone through the thick of it the first few months. And of course, one of the big reasons that I've been able to pursue content creation and stream full time was because she's always carried the insurance for us. After we got married, like before I was even like ready to go quote full time, I was able to take that leap and like go part time at work so that I could be on her benefits and insurance and pursue this whole TCAP the next thing, right? And so, you know, obviously when this happens, she's going to lose insurance when she drops down. And I think it's pretty obvious to say that a child who's having open heart surgery, having insurance is a non-negotiable. Like it's a must have, right? And then myself, I take a very expensive medication because I have ulcerative colitis. Thankfully, you know, I'm very healthy. Otherwise, it's very well managed. Like I basically have zero symptoms, but like without insurance, that medicine's like $5,000 or something. It's crazy. You know, my wife has her own medical needs, all that stuff. So trying to get private insurance, it's just astronomically more expensive, and it's just not really even a realistic option, which leaves me to kind of like tying this together. The reason I'm stepping away from content and streaming is because I've accepted a regular job so that I can carry insurance for my family. A lot of you guys know that my background is in nursing, and so I've taken a job as a nursing case manager. So essentially I'll be working in a hospital setting, but I'm not working directly with patients. Like I'm not providing direct patient care. Instead, my role is basically to help work together, like between doctors and patients, kind of coordinate care for patients, especially when it comes to when they discharge home and they need help setting up things like home health, physical therapy, that kind of stuff. So it's a Monday through Friday, you know, 9 to 5 type job. So obviously very different than what I've been doing, and I start this upcoming Monday. I'm sorry for announcing this kind of as late as I have. I've had some things I've wanted to kind of get finalized before I made this announcement. But yeah, so I will also still be doing my online personal training on the side, since I can be very flexible with that, you know, handle that stuff in the evenings, weekends. And since we're going to be solo income for a while, I need to make up for my wife's income. So, I'm going to be busy, but I love doing the personal training stuff. And so FYI, if you are one of my personal training clients watching this, nothing's going to change for you guys. So now that you guys kind of understand like the main reason of why this is happening, I want to kind of like just talk a little bit more about like how I feel about all this and whatnot. I've had a lot of mixed feelings about this. There's a part of me that's like mad at the world, mad at God for this stuff happening. It seems like it's not fair. But I'm also a firm believer in that everything happens for a reason. And I don't know that reason yet. Hopefully I will one day. But I also recognize that I've been incredibly blessed in my life in so many other aspects. Like I've been so blessed to just be T Captain X and do what I've been able to do and whatnot. I'm frustrated that I feel like I'm being forced to kind of give up on T Captain X and especially give up on my community. I'd say honestly, the hardest part about this whole process and like coming to this decision has been that I feel like I'm giving up on my community. The people that show up day in and day out on my streams, even when like a lot of the times, like you guys have stopped playing COD or like you don't even play the games that I'm streaming, but like you're still there every day. And I feel like I'm letting you guys down. And I just, I feel like so much of my success has been thanks to your guys' support. And so, yeah, I feel like crap for that. So honestly, like the last few weeks have been really hard because I feel like I'm not a crier, guys. So So like the last few weeks have really sucked just because I've been like in this weird limbo between things. And like I've known this was coming. It's just it's just been hard to like even want to make content, especially when COD's been COD and COD has kind of sucked lately, and I haven't been sure about like, do I want to make content on Battlefield or Arc Raiders, but then also knowing that like that this was going to come to an end, and I feel like the only reason I've been even streaming lately is just because I feel like I needed to for you guys. Now I will say, I'll fully admit, even before we knew about his heart condition, I was starting to contemplate and kind of look into the idea of myself going back and getting a normal job. And a big part of that was mainly because of the state of Call of Duty, right? Like it's been so down bad the last year. And with a kid on the way, like healthy or not, I just didn't feel confident in it. And, my channel's been solely COD, right? And like, so having to pivot to another game with a kid on the way when I'm the main financial provider for my family is really freaking scary, right? And so, also like the older I've gotten, I've been asking myself, do I legitimately see myself doing this, into my 40s and like even my 50s while I'm raising a family and kids? And like the answer is like, probably not. I used to be so freaking passionate and like basically obsessed with video games as a whole. And like when I was starting the T Captain X channel, I was like just so dead set, like no matter what it was going to take, I was going to be successful, and I just wanted to be like, yes, I made it. I was a full-time content creator. I was a YouTuber. And like I did it. And but I feel like now and definitely like the state of COD is a big thing to do with this, but like just haven't enjoyed gaming that much lately. And like when I don't enjoy the game and it seems like people are less interested, especially in like the idea of wanting to get better at a game, there's just like a smaller audience for that now. It's just been hard to want to make content. And that's like been my bread and butter and like what I enjoy doing the most. And so I'm also like congested now. I've had a cold. I'm still getting over a cold, so it doesn't help. So, that's another part of it. And then also I would say when I started my personal training business, which was back like basically like January of this year. I mean, it's been really successful like as a business, and I freaking love doing it. Like that kind of replaced the whole, like for me, I loved making content in COD that like helped people get better at the game, and like hearing people be like, yo, TCAP, like you made me so much better, blah, blah, that's awesome. Right. But then when I could do that and then I could make people better, like IRL at life, and like they could get in shape and like they had less pain, they felt more confident in themselves. Like that was like 10 times better as far as just like making me feel good. Right. And I still love doing that. But I would say, and this is just like a piece of advice I want to pass on to some of you guys, is that like, if you're ever going to do something in life, you need to be all in on it. And when I started my personal trading business, it gave me like a backup, like safety net, like to fall if TCaptain X like wasn't going well, right? And so then as soon as I started that, I like wasn't all in on TCaptain X, and I just like wasn't streaming as much, I wasn't making as much content. And like again, part of that was because like, yeah, the game sucked, but like, man, if you want to be successful in life, that's something I've learned about this whole like process, is you've got to be all in on one. And like same goes with, there was a moment in time where I was like, I'm going to go all in on personal trading. And I definitely could have saw myself doing that. Like I love doing it, but again, it's another job that like I wouldn't have, benefits. It's, it's solo business owner. And I also worry about long-term for that. Like in 5 to 10 years with the way AI is going, like something like that can very easily get replaced. Right. And so, it's something where I have to also consider and be like, okay, what is the long-term play here? Like what makes sense for me as I'm going to become a dad and like raise a family and support them. So yeah, again, I'm frustrated this is happening, because I do feel like I'm being kind of like forced to give up on my dream that I worked so damn hard to achieve. And like, man, I remember working full-time as a nurse and then like literally just on the computer learning how to create content and just grinding back in the day, and like not getting any sleep, completely giving up on all like my health and fitness stuff, and like I let myself get really unhealthy during that time. But like it was worth it. Like I'm not mad that I made those sacrifices. But I also have like a huge sense of relief coming that I am, one, getting back into the field that I worked so hard to study and get my degree in, but also like just have a simple 9-to-5 job where I can just clock out, take my mind off of it. I know people get annoyed of hearing this whole like, being a content creator is harder than working a 9-to-5. And, I'll just say like from what I've experienced as someone who's basically done both, I was a nurse on a COVID unit who took critically ill COVID patients back then. And like, we were short staffed and all that. And like, for me, being a content creator was harder than being a nurse was. But it's hard to explain. It's like in different aspects. Like it's all the mental aspects, obviously. The biggest thing is like as a content creator, you cannot turn your brain off. Like when you're done streaming or done editing or whatever, like your mind is just always going, and it's, trying to be creative, trying to think of what the next thing you're going to do is, and like how you're going to stay ahead, especially when you're at the mercy of a game like COD, who's like, sometimes you got good content to make on, other times you got to figure it out. And it's funny because like at my core, I am not a creative person. Like I'm amazed I've had the success that I've had in this space. Like, I mean, I had to teach myself and learn how to do it and figure it out. Like it's crazy to say, but like me having a critically ill patient who is like crashing and like going downhill, that is probably less stressful than like the constant mental stress of content creation was. Because with a patient, it's like, if this, then that. Like if this is happening, this is what you do. It's like, it's almost a formula. Like once you've been there, there's like a formula for everything you do, right? There is no formula for content creation. And it's not like, with nursing, again, like you clock out of your shift, you're done, right? With content, like your mind is just always on. And so that's like one of the hardest things. And so again, like I know that sounds crazy, and like I don't expect people, I totally expect people to be like, no, like you're dumb, you're gonna hate your 9 to 5, and that's fine. But like there's a part of me that is very excited to go back to just like that simple 9 to 5 that has PTO and a 401k and insurance and blah 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 blah. You know what I mean? So I start my job this upcoming Monday. Will I stream and make more videos in the future? I don't know. Definitely when my son is born, which is looking like might happen more closer to like January now. Definitely not going to around then for the first few months, for sure. Maybe in the next month or two leading up to that, will I stream every once in a while? I don't know. Maybe. I haven't decided. But like, I'm only going to do it if I want to, right? Like I'm going to always put like my family number one, taking care of my own health, my job, like those things are going to come first, right? And like if I have the time and I'm really like, I want to stream, then I might. But playing like COD and stuff has felt like a task instead of something I wanted to do. And I'm really excited to go play like some single player games that I haven't done in years. I haven't played any single player. Like I haven't played Elden Ring or any of the Assassin's Creeds. Like there's so many games that I'm excited to go play. And also like there is a part of me that like sometimes it is nice to just play a game and not worry about streaming. Like, yes, I love streaming and I love having my community there and interacting with you guys. But like when, like the games that I want to go play are games that like people aren't always going to want to watch. That's fine. So, will I maybe throw up like a settings video or like a guide if it's like a game that I'm really into and I'm really enjoying and feel like I can like do something that I would enjoy making? Maybe, but I don't know. I really don't know. I'm going to try to keep you guys up to date on what's happening if you guys care. So I will post stuff probably in my Discord, probably on X or Twitter, tcaptainx_, and then probably also maybe on like my tfitx Instagram page. I might still make a little bit of fitness content here and there, but nothing crazy. It's tfit.x if you guys care. And then I will also link our Amazon registry. I know some people have been asking, but again, like this is not, my community has been so freaking awesome. A lot of you guys have contributed to this already. I don't want to pressure anybody to do that. You guys have done so much before already. And like, I feel like sorry that I'm having to do this. Like, I feel like I'm letting people down, but I hope you guys understand. I also want to shout out to the mod squad. Man, you guys are such a freaking awesome group. This is what's going to make me tear up again. Like you guys have done so much to just maintain our community. Help me with videos, like just help me with so many different things, and just like be great friends. And like it's weird to say that some of my best friends are people that I've still never met in person, but I do really hope to meet all you guys one day. Yeah. So guys, thank you for being part of my story, being part of my life. T Captain X. It's not the end, just another chapter in my life, and I'm excited for it though. But sad that this one's ending. But I love you guys. Peace.